I'm Francois from Production Music Live, today with Producer Notes, and we're looking at the style of Rüfüs du Sol, Adriatique, WhoMadeWho, Miracle. Here we have a remake with Ableton in-the-box elements plus Serum reproduced this style of that track with different harmonies, different melodies, and different vocals. And we have a fully arranged track here lasting around 8 minutes with an intro part. Where we have these toms and kicks coming in and some of these synths. Sort of building it up. And then some chords and pads are coming in, and then later we bring in the vocals. I know where I wanna be. And then we drop into our first drop here. Yeah, and then we're building it up until we reach the pre-break, where some bass elements are being taken out and some other elements are being brought down to sort of announce the break part. Where we fully go down and then we start with the vocals. I was all alone, so lost, and I never would have thought. And it gets super dreamy, and then we are starting to introduce drum elements, percussion elements, and hi-hats, and some synths, and we are bringing in pianos. Some nights when I go to sleep, yes, and then we're creating more tension, more tension, more tension, and then we have this pre-drop part here. And then we have this typical Afro House driving groove here with all the important elements. We're going to take a look at that in a minute. And then we have this outro part so you can mix into the next track. And we're winding it all down. So this is a super fun project file here for educational purposes, and as it's a remake, as we were trying to sort of remake the elements of the reference track, sometimes you are working with Ableton household elements, and so that's why we have a whole bunch of pad sounds here, mostly done with Serum, to sort of get this sort of recreate the sound that was used in the original. Maybe they just used one element and then we had to sort of use 3 to really get all these layers in there. Now, if you would produce this from the front, you would probably not work like this. You would just choose one pad and go with that one. But I think it's also interesting to see how these sounds can be put together. And you can create this landscape in the background. But for the sake of this video, let's focus on the most important elements first and take a look at them individually. So I'm copying over from our kick and bass group 2 elements, and then later I will copy over from the toms group, from the drums group, where we have all our drum elements inside. Then from the synths group, Tom's group sounds like this. And then we also have this effects group, solo this one, with a bunch of noises and risers, and some snare rolls. And then we have our vocals group down here. And these are our elements. So let's go through them step by step, and I'm copying over the kick and the bass line. So we can take a look at it here in the back in this looped part. And I'm also going to copy over the sidechain element. So kick alone. Pretty short, 200 milliseconds long kick. Nice low end, clean. This is what we're working with, and then we are adding in the sustained bass. And we're going B, D, E, B. And what's the sound? Let's quickly check out Serum here. We are using the basic MIDI, and we're using a saw wave, and we're running that through a filter and some distortion. So it's a bit more gritty. And then also through a saturator here. So it has a bit of these upper harmonics. And then we are already in our toms group. We have 3 tom elements. Super important here because we need the groove. And I'm just going to play them with the kick one by one. So we have the first element here. It's interesting that actually takes the both first hits. Quite unusual. And then we have the second one, which does. That one is super important. This is sometimes you would do this with the bass sound, and that would be your bass line. And here we have this tom powered bass line, basically. We're using this tom sound from the Premium Volume 6, and we're combining it with another tom element. Let's listen to those. Actually, turn off the kick. Oh yeah, that one's for the transient. The other one is for the note. Nice. And then a bit of processing here, just cutting off some high frequencies, adding a bit of saturation. This is how you can, if you're reverse engineering a style or certain sounds, this is how you process stuff together. If you produce from the front, sometimes this looks a bit weird. So keep that in mind. We are trying to remake these sounds here. Yeah, and there's our high tom element. And there we go, together with that first bam bam. And that was also from the Premium Volume 6, our drum sample pack. You can find on productionmusiclive.com. I'm putting a link in the description as well. Also, I'm putting a link into the description for this project file here, which is part of our new Afro House sound pack called Deeper Love, containing 2 project files that you can dissect and take parts out of and put your own stuff on top. It also contains Serum presets, 60 Serum presets with MIDIs, 1 MIDI for each preset. And also it contains a sample pack with loops for Afro House, with one-shots, with a bunch of vocals for Afro House. We have much more loops in here. Also nice melodic loops, for example. some bass lines. And if I'm, for example, this one gives you a nice atmosphere already. I can quickly drag this in here and turn it down. It's A minor, and what was that? We were in B. So if I'm quickly bringing this up, let's quickly check this out. Can make this work. Yeah, so I'm just going up. This works. I'm going up 2 semitones with the sample, and we are going from A to A sharp to B, and then we are there. We can also set it to sort of tones. And it says here the sample is 121, and as it doesn't have transients, we need to sort of quickly take a look at the warping here and put in 121. So the length is correct. So this one gives you this nice bed in the background for your Afro House production. Anyways, we keep on going. Check the links in the description for this Afro House sound pack. And now we have our drum and bass and tom foundation here. And now you always need a shaker or a bunch of shakers. I'm copying over this group here quickly so we can listen in. So we have this shaker loop. Oh, that's a single, a one shot. And, you know, the velocities on these 16th notes are slightly, well, we are heavily emphasizing the third one. But we don't really hear it that much because we are in the classic mode. Anyways, we have the sidechain on top of it. So we are sidechaining it to the first element. And then we also play this other shaker along. In a drum rack here together. Well, wait, let's play this one first. There's this nice left-right panorama shaker. You can see that here. We are playing different things on the left side and on the right side. Nice stereo spectrum on the shaker loop from the Premium Volume 5. Yeah, and with Afro House, you always need some conga things going on and some, you know, fill-ins. So you make it a bit more organic sounding. Actually, this fits better here. So a bunch of congas. And some percussive hits with a longer reverb tail. Whereas this is going into the cathedral, so that's a very long reverb, almost 13 seconds of decay time here, activated through the send return. And we have all these return channels here, trying to go through them as we listen to the different elements that use them. So this one is C. It's just a drums room reverb, pretty short, 1.2 seconds decay time. And also very important for Afro House are these bells and glasses. So I'm copying over a bunch of those, and we have these bells. With some delay, some heavy delay applied here, 3x3 delay, and some random velocity information here through this MIDI effect. Then the bell, then rolling off low end, and then sidechaining the thing, because it's sometimes also playing on the first hit. And we also have this metal perk thing. Same MIDI pattern, also both going through the drums room reverb, and then we have this glass sound, which is alternating. Right, and we are giving this a bit of delay as well, and comes from Serum in this case, and we are using the glass lid from the miscellaneous attacks here in our noise section, and then we are sort of making sure we have a shorter decay time. Bit of reverb on top of it, bit of delay on top of it. Really makes a difference here, the sound. And then we have this glass strike, same pattern as the Serum glass. This gives a bit more transient to the sound. And makes it a bit fatter. And these are details, obviously. You don't have to do it this way. You can also just use one sound and it's probably going to be fine. Then we have some tambourines here. Let's quickly listen into those. Yeah, that one is not, I like these sounds here. Let's enter in this one as well. Yeah, that's how you get an arrangement interesting, these kinds of things. Making a bit louder for you. Cool sound. I like this one. Okay, and now we are going on. What else do you need for Afro House? You need this Plucky one note thing that you've probably heard a bunch of times now already. That's your marching band here. Sometimes you also have these with a bit longer attack and a bit less belly or mid frequencies. So they go. But here in this case, we're filling out this frequency range with this one, and then we have a bunch of plugs to accommodate it. This one is the most obvious one, so I'm copying over this one. What are we playing here? B, our root, and F sharp below. And together with everything else. And if we were thinking, what was a scary voice? Because if we have this vocal sample here in our noise section, and we play the note longer, that one starts showing up. So unison 6, unison 12, a lot of voices here on both oscillators, and then we're sending this through the filter, 12 decibels per octave filter, some chorus, some delay, and some reverb on top of the sound if you want to copy that. And then we are cleaning up and making it work in the mix and adding in a bit of delay and then sidechaining the whole thing. And that's our plug sound to accompany the one note plug thing. Okay. Okay, and now we need this elephant type sound here. before we go on, super important. This one is giving the vibes. So we were trying to look for some elephant sound. And then heavy processing. This takes a while to get right, but basically you need a lot of saturation, overdrive. You need to sort of shift some frequencies, distort them, and then add in some reverb. And then filter out the stuff you don't need and maybe use an OTT to make it a bit smoother. And yeah, and then you have this elephant-like sound here in between. Yeah, so just the elephant from the local zoo. And then we have this synth element here. Yep, and that one is important as well. What a nice sound. And this one gets all sorts of treatments. It goes into the cathedral here with the reverb tail. It goes into something called sizzle. And what does this mean? The sizzle preset for our reverb, and it also goes into the delay, but just ever so slightly. And it also has this large shimmer reverb here from Ableton. And what does the sound look like? We have mellow but unstable, and oh yeah ooh, and bright white noise. And we have a bunch of voices to get it fatter. And this is our filter envelope. So we're opening up the filter and then we're really taking some time to close it back. So we have this initial high frequent part of the sound, and then we're just running it through a delay here. Longer sustain, longer release, and nice reverb tail on the sound. And then we have another sound that sort of supports the bottom or the mid frequencies. It's just a square wave, basically. Nice 8 voices. So to beef up the sound, basically. Okay, all together. Also quickly look at some of the automations here. So we have frequency automation. And you could maybe ask the question, hey, where's this pitch coming from? So let's try to figure that out. Let's look at Serum first. Nothing to see here, so it's MIDI information in that case. So you go to, yeah, so MIDI envelopes control pitch bend. There you go. That's how we are controlling the pitch bend of the sound to make it pitch up. And now some vocals on top of that, some nice vocals. We recorded some that work well with a nice voice here, kind of like WhoMadeWho, Rüfüs du Sol. I was all alone, so lost, and I never would have thought that you would find me. I was all alone, so lost. So that one is not in a choir, and then we sort of layer it here with a lower. And I never would have thought that you would find me. And then we have this Atmo on top. Long reverb tails on those sounds as well, have them sidechained, and the group doesn't do anything, so combine that with the elements we already have. I was all alone, so lost, and I never would have thought. Sometimes when listening to such a vocal, I'm asking myself, hey, what does that one sound like an octave lower? Different algorithm, mess around. I was all alone, so long. I was all alone, so lost. I was all alone, so lost. Yeah, you could layer that in or keep it the way it is. I think I'm going back. I was all alone, so lost, and I never would have thought that you would find me. Okay, and now some pianos. Typical Afro House type grand piano here. You can use the Ableton grand piano, or we have, you know, this recorded piano here to make sure these project files don't get huge, just a bunch of notes recorded and it ends up sounding like a piano. But it's obviously better if you use a proper VST piano and replace this. Should be super easy. And let's take a look at the chord progression quickly. We have B, D, and E, B minor, D major, E major, Y major, and minor. Let's take a look. I'm bringing down the D from up here from the different voicing, and we have a B minor chord, and then an octave higher B again. So B minor because we have B as a root note, 2 semitones in between, which is a minor third, and then we have our third, and then we have a major third from here, from D to F sharp. So this is a minor chord. Bring this back up an octave, and then if I'm taking down the third an octave here, we have that's a major chord, D major, major third, followed by a minor third, D major. Bring this back up, and then we have E major here, which you can see right away because it's like your first piano lesson. That's what you play. Major third, minor third, and then an octave higher of the root note E. And then back down. But in this case, we play B minor with the third an octave down. And in the beginning, we're voicing the third an octave up. And that's how you can make a chord, even if it's the same chord, you can make it feel like it's a different one in an arrangement. Because you're playing, this is the same chord. But it still introduces this new section nicely. And then we have an upper piano here, an octave higher. And then we have these are our key elements, and now we can still add in some drones and pad sounds, but this one already works almost without them here.
I was all alone, so lost, and I never would have thought that you would find me.
Okay, so we are going to check out some of the other filling up elements in the arrangement that sort of help you create tension and some interesting vibes here and there. But these elements here in the back are already working, and you totally get the style right if you have these elements. And in the break part, we are using a whole bunch of pad sounds, and they're sort of taking you from this super laid back, dreamy vibe. And they're bringing back tension.
Some nights when I go to sleep, I know where I wanna be.
Right, so we have, let's go through them. We have this drone element here. Just use any pad sound and low pass it. I'm skipping the one, and then let's go to this one. Here with the passing note, but it's still the same chord progression. This B nicely, this E nicely introduces the next chord here. Same here. So we need some pink noise in the noise section, and then we have our saw wave here and this basic MG mixed in as well, run through a filter. I like this one. Slower attacks here, super laid back, nice background atmosphere with this sound, and pad higher. Yeah, we need that one for our frequency range. Just saw waves up there.
That you would find me.
And that's our fifth. If this is B, that's our fifth in this scale, and we're just playing the fifth throughout. And then we have this glitchy pad, which has some texture automations here. And we're actually achieving this on this pad sound with, because we just have this saw wave here, and then we have this texturizer behind it. And it's a rack that introduces grain sounds and some fuzzy sounds, and you can get that from our rack attack PML racks. Here it's the Texturizer, and that's a free download, and I'm putting a link in the description to that PML rack attack volume 1, so you can throw this Texturizer on your own pad sounds and see what it does for you, but be sure to sort of automate it to make it sound interesting in your break parts. Then we have this tremolo thing. In this case, we are achieving tremolo here. With our auto pan, setting the amount to 100% up and the rate to 16 notes and the phase to 0. And then sending it through 10 seconds of reverb. And flutter below. Air can noise, sine wave, basic mini. And then we are sending it through the PML flutter. And that's a one knob device that's also in the rack attack. If you need a quick flutter, drag it in and you're done. And then we are back at our steps. So we analyzed some of the pad sounds here, which sort of make up our break parts.
Some nights when I go to sleep, I know.
And you can also see we are messing around with the automations here. We are trying to keep this stuff moving so it stays interesting. Don't always keep it in the same position. Get some MIDI controller or get some whatever you have, Ableton push, and then just record something along while playing it. So it's instantly more interesting if you do that. And now last check into the effects section here. Some sweeps, some Foley, some ambience, some impacts, some crashes, and some other effect sounds here. Usual suspects in electronic music, and we did have another vocal thing here, which is kind of like an ad-lib thing. Let's listen into that. Yeah, that's our reverse vocal recording. That's always taking the first syllable of what's going to come, throw a bunch of reverb on it, reverse the sound, and record that.
Some nights when I go to sleep.
Yeah, and these ad-libs here that make it a bit more trippy. Right? And here as well. Especially in the build-up part or in the intro part where you don't have this many other elements.
Some nights when I go to sleep, I know where I wanna be. Some nights
Yeah, so really nice element there, keeping it much more interesting than if you went without it. And so I'm summing up the key elements here. You need a bass and a kick and a sustained bass line for this sound. Just to fill up your frequency range is not the lowest bass ever. And then your groove part in the bass is going to be covered by a tom groove. And then in Afro House, you always have one loudly mixed percussive element that kind of serves as a melody. So let's quickly go to our drums here. And in this case, that would be the glass and glass strikes. And then you always have a shaker combination of some sort, mostly very wide in the stereo spectrum. You hardly ever hear a clap, and the clap position remains 3. Instead, we have Conga Fills and perc hits. And then on top of that, you have a bunch of weird sounds like this elephant this elephant noise that we had, I think it's in a synths group. Need to quickly scroll down. Here we are. So this. So whatever you can find in the savannah or in the zoo, and then some pitched synths that give this epic atmosphere. Okay, and then usually you have a piano sound in all these Keine Musik, Rampa, and Me, Black Coffee tracks. And then always use vocals if you can find some. If you have some nice African sounding voices, that is nice. But lately I've been hearing a lot of Afro House type tracks with all sorts of vocals, even pop vocals on top of them. So this might also work.
I was all alone, so lost, and I never would have thought that you would find me.
Yeah, and these are the main elements. If you get these right, you have a nice Afro House foundation, and then you can write your track around it. And now in the last step, we are going to listen to the entire track from start to finish, complete playthrough. And I hope you enjoyed this little walkthrough session. If you want to check out this Afro House pack, it's released now on Production Music Live. I'm putting a link into the description to this one, also to the D Premium Volume 6 that has been used here for a bunch of drum sounds. And I'm also going to throw in a bunch of other links to more Afro House resources, Organica sample packs that provide you with nice drum elements, percussive elements, tom elements, you know, a lot of stuff to choose from to keep your sounds interesting and get a nice foundation around your track. And also going to put in a link to a vocal pack so you can choose some vocals maybe for your next track as a placeholder until you find somebody who can sing something that you really have in mind. And also I'm going to throw in a link to the free download PML Rack Attack racks that help you create flutter effects, endless cry. What is endless cry, by the way? That's on our master channel here. We're using that right before our drop, and what it does is it's working like a fade to gray, so like this. And it's set up really nicely clean. So that one is in there as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a comment and a like, and what you want to see next. Subscribe to this channel, and I hope to see you next time. And now we have a full playthrough.
myself.